Cecily, surely such a utilitarian occupation as the watering of flowers is rather Milton's duty than yours, especially at a moment when intellectual pleasures await you. Your German grammar is on the table. Pray, open it at page 15. We will repeat yesterday's lesson.
But I don't like German. It isn't at all a becoming language. I know perfectly well that I look quite plain after my German lesson.
Child, you know how anxious your guardian is that you should prove yourself in every way. He laid particular stress on your German as he was leaving for town yesterday. Indeed, he always lays stress on your German when he's leaving for town.
Dear Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he's so serious that I think he cannot be quite well.
Your guardian enjoys the best of health, and his gravity of demeanour is especially to be commended among so comparatively young as he is. I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility.
I suppose that is why he often looks a little bored when we three are together.
Cecily, I'm surprised at you. Mr. Worthing has many troubles in his life. Idle merriment and triviality would be out of place in this conversation. You must remember his constant anxiety about that unfortunate young man, his brother.
I wish Uncle Jack would allow us unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometimes. We might have a good influence over him, Miss Prism. I'm sure you certainly would. You know German and geology, and things of that kind influence a man very much.
I do not think that even I could produce any effect on a character that, according to his own brother's admission, is irretrievably weak and vacillating. Indeed, I'm not sure I would desire to reclaim him. I'm not in favour of this modern mania for turning bad people into good people at a moment's notice. As an incinerate and reap. You really must put away your diary, Cecily. I really don't see why you should have diary at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter all the wonderful secrets of my heart. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary that we all carry about with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles the things that have never happened and couldn't possibly have happened. I believe memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels Moody sends us.
Do not speak slightingly of the 3-volume novel, Cecily. I read for myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are. I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
Should not end happily and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. And was your novella published?
Alas, no. The manuscript, unfortunately, was abandoned. I use the word in the sense of lost or mislaid. To your work, child, these speculations are profitless.
But I see dear Dr. Chasuble coming up through the garden.
Dr. Chasuble, this is indeed a pleasure.
And how are you this morning, Miss Prism? You are, I trust. Well,
Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think it would do her so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble.
Cecily, I have not mentioned anything about a headache.
No, dear Miss Prism, I know that. But I felt instinctively that you had a headache. In fact, I was thinking about that and not my German lesson when the rector came in.
I hope, Cecily, you're not inattentive.
Oh, I'm afraid I am.
That is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang upon her nerves. I spoke metaphorically, and my metaphor was drawn from the bees. Mr. Worthing, I suppose, has not returned from town yet.
We do not look for him till Monday afternoon.
Well, I hope he shall return very soon. He's not one of those whose sole aim is enjoyment, as by all accounts an unfortunate young man his brother seems to be.
I think, dear doctor, I will have that stroll with you. I find I have a headache after all, and the walk might do it good.
With pleasure, Miss Prism, with pleasure. We might go as far as the schools and back.
Well, that would be delightful. Cecily, you will read your political economy in my absence. The gentle fall of the rupee, you may admit, it is somewhat too sensational. Even these metallic problems have their melodramatic side.
Horrid political economy. Horrid geography.
that his money should be.
Mr. Ernest Worthing? Uncle Jack's brother? Mr. Ernest Worthing, before the RBW. Tis Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He said he was anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come here. And I suppose you had better talk to the housekeeper about a room for him.
Yes.
I have never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he will look just like everyone else. He does.
You are my little cousin Cecily, I'm sure.
You're under some strange mistake. I'm not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cecily. And you, I see from your card, are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest. My wicked cousin Ernest.
I'm not really wicked at all, cousin Cecily. You mustn't think that I'm wicked.
If you're not, then you have certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
I have been rather reckless.
Glad to hear it.
Now that you mention the subject, I have been very bad in my own small way.
I don't think you should be so proud of that. I'm sure it must have been very pleasant.
It is much pleasanter being here with you, cousin Cecily.
I can't understand how you were here at all. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon.
It is a great disappointment. I'm obliged to go up by the first train on Monday morning. I have a business appointment that I'm anxious to miss.
Couldn't you miss it anywhere but in London?
No, the appointment is in London.
But I know, of course, how important it is not to miss a business engagement, not to keep a business engagement, if one wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life. But still, I think you had better wait till Uncle Jack comes back. I know he wants to speak to you about your emigrating.
About my what?
Your emigrating. He's gone up to buy your outfit.
I certainly wouldn't make Jack buy my outfit. He has no taste in neckties at all.
Oh, I don't think he'll require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, he said at dinner on Wednesday night that you would have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia.
From the accounts I've received of this world and Australia, they're not particularly engaging. This world is quite good enough for me, cousin Cecily.
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
I'm afraid I'm not that. That is why I want you to inform me. You might make that your mission if you do not mind.
I'm afraid I've no time this afternoon.
Would you mind me informing myself this afternoon?
It is rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try.
I will. I feel better already.
You're looking a little worse.
That is because I'm hungry.
How thoughtless of me! I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in?
Thank you. Might I have a buttonhole first? I never have any appetite unless I have a buttonhole first.
A Marshall meal?
I'd sooner have a pink rose.
Why?
Because you are like a pink rose, cousin Cecily.
I don't think it's the right thing to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me.
Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says all good looks are a snare.
They are a snare that all sensible men would like to be caught in.
Oh, I don't think I should care to catch a sensible man. I wouldn't know what to talk to him about.
You are too much in here to get up to Chelsea Road. You should get married. And this unfrock I can understand. A woman frock. Never.
Believe me, I do not deserve so neologistic a phrase. The precept as well as the practice of the primitive church was distinctly against matrimony.
That is obviously why the primitive church has not lasted up to the present day. And you do not seem to realize, dear doctor, that by persistently remaining single, a man can convince himself into a permanent public temptation. Men should be more careful, because very celibacy leads legal vessels astray.
But is a man not equally attractive when married?
No married man is ever attractive except unto his wife.
And often, I've been taught. Not even to her.
That depends on the intellectual symbolism of the woman. Maturity can always be depended upon. Ripeness can be trusted. Young women are green. I spoke horticulturally. My metaphor was drawn from fruits. But where is Cecily?
Perhaps you followed us to the schools.
Mr. Worthing?
Mr. Worthing?
This is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till that afternoon.
I have returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Chancellor, I hope you are well.
Dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother,
More shameful deaths in France.
still leading his life of pleasure. Dead.
Your brother Ernest dead?
Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it.
Mr. Worthing, you have my sincere condolences. You have at least the consolation of knowing that you will always be most generous and forgiving of brothers. Poor Ernest, he had many faults, but it is a sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end?
No, he died in Paris. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel.
And was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill, it seems.
As a man says, Sarah Chapeaury.
Charity, dear Miss Prism, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am peculiarly susceptible to drafts. Will the interns take place here?
No, it seems he expressed a desire to be buried in Paris.
In Paris? I fear that hardly points to any very serious state of mind at the last. You would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. My sermon on the meaning of manner in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful, or as in the present case, distressing. I have preached it at harvest celebrations, christenings, confirmations, on days of humiliation, and festal days. The last time I delivered it was in the cathedral, as a charity sermon on behalf of the Society for Prevention of Discontent amongst the upper orders. The bishop, who was present, was much struck by some of the analogies I drew.
That reminds me, Dr. Chancellor, you mentioned christenings, I believe. I suppose you're not a Christian, all right? I mean, you are continually christening, aren't you?
It is, I regret to inform you, one of the rector's most constant duties in this parish. I have often spoken to the poorer classes on the subject, but they don't seem to know what thrift is.
But is there any particular infant in whom you're interested, Mr. Worthing? Your brother was, I believe, unmarried.
Oh, yes.
People who live entirely for pleasure usually are.
But it is not for any child. I'm very fond of children. No, the fact is I would like to be christened myself this afternoon if you've nothing better to do.
But surely you'll be christened already, Mr. Worthing.
I don't remember anything about it.
But have you any great doubts on the subject?
I certainly intend to have. Of course, I don't know if the thing would bother you in any way, or I think I'm really too old.
Not at all. The sprinkling and deep immersion of adults is a perfectly canonical practice.
Immersion?
You have no apprehension. Sprinkling is all that is necessary. Or indeed, I think advisable. Our weather is so changeable. What hour would you wish the ceremony performed?
I might trot round about 5 if that would suit you.
Perfectly. In fact, I have two similar ceremonies to perform at that time, a case of twins that occurred recently in one of the outlying cottages on your earliest estate. Poor Jenkins, the carter, a most hard-working man.
Oh. I don't see much fun in being christened along with other babies. Maybe it would be childish. Well, would 5:30 do?
Naturally. And now, dear Mr. Worthing, I will not intrude any longer into a house of sorrow. I would merely beg you not to be too much bowed down by grief. What seem to us to be bitter trials are often blessings in disguise.
This seems to me a blessing of an extremely obvious kind.
Uncle Jack! Oh, I am pleased to see you back. What horrid clothes you got on? Do you go and change them?
Cecily!
My child.
What is the matter, Uncle Jack? Do you look happy? You look as if you had toothache. And I have got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
Who?
Your brother Ernest. He arrived about half an hour ago.
That's nonsense. I'm not I don't know what it all means. I think it's perfectly absurd. Good heavens.
Brother John, I have come down sometimes to tell you that I am very sorry for all of the trouble that I have given you, and that I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take it. I think it's coming down here in disgrace. He knows perfectly well why.
Uncle Jack, do you know there is some good in everyone? Ernest has just been telling me all about his poor invalid friend Mr. Bunbury, who visits so often, and surely there must be much good in one who is kind to an invalid and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by a bed of pain.
No. He's been talking to you about Bunbury, has he?
Yes, he told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health.
Bunbury. Well, I won't have him talking to you about Bunbury or anything else. I think it's enough to drive him perfectly frantic.
Of course, I admit the faults were all on my side, but Brother John's coldness to me seems peculiarly painful. I expected a much more enthusiastic welcome, especially considering it was the first time I have come here.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake Ernest's hand, I will never forgive you.
Never?
Never, never, never.
Well, this is the last time I shall ever do it. It is pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation?
I might leave the two brothers together.
Cecily, you will come with us.
Certainly, Miss Prism, my little task of reconciliation is over.
You have done a beautiful action today, dear child.
We must not be premature in our judgments.
I feel very happy.
Now, Jiggy, young scamper. We've got to get out of this place as soon as possible. I don't allow any Bunbury here.
I have put Mr. Ernest's things in the room next to yours, sir. I suppose that is all right.
What?
Mr. Ernest's luggage, sir. I have put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage?
Yes, sir. 3 portmanteaus, a dressing case, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
I'm afraid I can't stay longer than a week this time.
Merriman, what did the doctor want Mr. Ernest can call something back to town?
Yes, sir.
A fearful lad, my Jack. I've often called back to town and called.
Yes, you have?
I haven't heard anyone call me.
Well, duty as a gentleman calls you back.
My duty as a gentleman has never interfered with my pleasures in the smallest degree.
I can quite understand that.
Well, Cecily is a darling.
You're not to talk of Miss Carter in that way. I don't like it.
I don't like it never. It's perfectly ridiculous. And why don't you go and change? It is perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who's staying at your house as a guest for a whole week. You call it grotesque.
Well, you're certainly not staying with me for a whole week as my guest or anything else. You've got to leave by the 4:05 train.
I wouldn't leave you while you're in deep mourning. It would be most unfriendly of me. If I were in mourning, you would stay with me. I would think it perfectly kind of you to...
Well, will you go if I change my clothes?
Yes, if you're not too long. I've never known someone to take so long to dress, with such little result.
Well, at any rate, it's better than being always overdressed as you are.
If I am occasionally a little overdressed, I make up for it by being always immensely overeducated.
Your vanity is ridiculous, your conduct an outrage, and your presence in my garden utterly absurd. Now, however, you've got to get the 4:05, and I wish you a very pleasant journey back to town. This Bunbury, as you call it, has not been a great success for you.
I think it has been a great success. I'm in love with Cecily. And that is it. I must see her before I go, and make arrangements for another Bunbury. There she is now.
Oh, I merely came back to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's going to order the dog cart for me.
Oh, is he going to take you for a nice drive?
He's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It is the most painful parting.
It is always painful to part from people who one has known for a very brief space of time. The absence of old friends one can enjoy their community. Even a momentary separation from anyone to whom one has just been introduced is almost unbearable.
Thank you.
The dog cart is at the door, sir.
It can wait a moment for 5 minutes.
Yes.
I have a pleasure working with you,
the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think you'll find yourself a great credit, Ernest. If you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you really keep that? I'd give anything to look at it. Where?
Oh, no. You see, it is simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. When it appears in volume form, I hope you will order a copy. But pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from dictation. I have reached absolute perfection. You can go on. I am quite ready for more. Don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell cough.
Cecily, ever since I first laid eyes upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
I don't think you should tell me that you love me wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily.
The dog cart is waiting, sir.
Tell him to come round next week at the same hour.
Yes, sir.
Uncle Jack would be very much annoyed if he knew that you were staying on till next week at the same hour.
I don't care about Jack. I don't care about anyone in the world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy, of course. Why, we have been engaged for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months.
It will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And, of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. One feels there must be something in him after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Darling. And when was this engagement actually settled?
On 14th of February last, worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or another. And, after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under this dear old tree here. The next day, I bought this little ring in your name. And this is the little bangle with the true lover's knot I promised you always to wear.
Did I give you this? It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yes, you've wonderfully good taste, Ernest. It's the excuse I've always given for you leading such a bad life. And this is the box in which I keep all your dear letters.
My letters? But my dear sweet Cecily, I have never written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well that I was forced to write your letters for you. I wrote always 3 times a week, and sometimes oftener.
Do you let me read them?
Oh, I couldn't possibly. They would make you far too conceited. The 3 you wrote me after I had broken off the engagement were so beautiful and so badly spelled that even now I can hardly read them without crying.
But was our engagement ever really broken off?
Of course it was. On the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you like. Today I broke off my engagement with Ernest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather's something to be charming.
But, Cecily, how did you break off our engagement? I'd done nothing at all. What had I done? I'm very deeply hurt to hear that you have broken off our engagement, especially when the weather's so charming.
Well, it would hardly be a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. But I forgave you before the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are.
You dear romantic boy.
But you will never break off the engagement again, will you?
I don't think I could break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, of course, there is the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
You mustn't laugh at me, darling, but it had always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Ernest. There is something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Ernest.
Yes, Cecily, do you mean to say you would not love me? If my name wasn't Ernest?
But what other name might it be?
Any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name Algernon.
rejected the name Virgin, and it's not a bad name. In fact, it is a rather aristocratic name. More than half the chaps who get under the bankruptcy court are called Belgian. But seriously, do you mean to say you would not love me if my name was Halliday?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character. But I fear I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
Your writer here is, I suppose, experienced in all of the rites and ceremonials of the church.
Oh yes, Dr. Chasuble is a most learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
And you must see him at once on our most important christening. I mean, on most important business.
Oh,
I should not be more than half an hour.
considering that we've been engaged since February the 14th, and that I only met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must send his proposal into my diary.
I have been told that there will now be a 15-minute interval. One may go to the lavatory or stretch one's legs. However, please return to your seats within 15 minutes, as in this society, there is no such thing as fashionably late.